My name is Mandy Milkovich. You may not know me, but you must have seen the television series I was in.
He drinks and mistakes me for Mom. Only once in a while. Not like it's a big deal.
I'm not a tool, so you don't get to treat me like one.
You know, you might even want to say thank you.
Thank you!
And you deserve to get out. Even if you don't take me with you, which I really thought you would anyway.
Where'd you hit?
Girl at school?
Don't forget to check for hair behind the grill. Call Manny about the windshield.
You look really pretty, Mandy.
You know that just because we were born here doesn't mean that we end up here. I was born in 1996 in the Milkovich family in the South Side. My father was a jerk, and they were a group of brothers and sisters with mixed blood relations living together. The South Side was a quagmire. I was pretty, and it was easy for me to attract the attention of men since I was a child, including those greasy, middle-aged men. When I was 14, a red-haired, freckled boy named Ian teased the history teacher who was using me to practice standing sticks. Ian and I were not familiar with each other before. I only knew that he was a Gallagher, and the reputation of the Gallagher family was as bad as that of the Milkovich family. Unlike other boys of the same age who came at my beck and call, Ian acted very cold in the face of my enthusiasm, and even had no reaction, which not only made me doubt my beauty, the life experience of the Milkovich family made me accustomed to solving problems with violence. After returning home, I exaggerated the situation. My best brother, Mickey, decided to teach Ian a lesson.
Ian Gallagher!
Years later, when I think of this experience, I always wonder if Mickey had already noticed Ian and took advantage of it. A few days later, Ian found me and told me his unspeakable secret. After realizing that Ian was not indifferent because he thought I am ugly, I was very happy and took the initiative to pretend to be Ian's girlfriend in front of others. I had long been fed up with men's groping Ian. Such a good-looking male beastie not only allowed me to pass the time, but also allowed me to reject others easier. Ian and his brother Lip had a good relationship, and the brothers stuck together all the time, as Ian's nominal girlfriend. I had to spend more time with Lip. Lip was different from most of the boys I knew. When faced with problems that most South Side hooligans could only solve with violence, he would always use his brain to come up with better solutions, which had a fatal attraction to me. Thanks to Debbie's summer party, I had sex with Lip for the first time. After that, Lip asked me to seduce Karen's fiancée, Jody. I knew Karen a typical bitch, and I really didn't understand why Lip likes her so much. My mother died when I was 15. Since then, my father, Terry, has become even more addicted to alcohol. What's worse, he occasionally mistook me for my mother when he was drunk, and the evil seed was planted. I was very scared about the pregnancy, so I hid at my aunt's house overnight. What I didn't know was that my father had completely forgotten what he had done after he sobered up, and actually thought that Ian had made me pregnant. So he ran to the Gallagher's house and beat him up. After being stopped by Ian's mother, Monica, my father, who was not satisfied with the beating, chased Ian every day like a child. In order to end my father's all-pervasive pursuit, Ian, led by Lip, sneaked into our house with a pistol, ready to frame my father, who was on parole, and send the scourge back to prison. In order to save the lives of my brothers, I had to tell the truth. To my surprise, Ian did not run away like Lip did, but instead offered to help me raise money to abort the baby. This was the first time I felt warm around a man, and at this moment, I really hoped that Ian liked women. Lip got Karen pregnant and wanted to drop out of school to support Karen and the child. His sister Fiona wanted him to continue to go to college. After a quarrel, Lip ran away from home and lived in my house. I actually had many opportunities to see through the scumbag's lies, but I had just had a miscarriage and chose to turn a blind eye after seeing how good Lip was to the unborn child. I have never seen a man who is as responsible for the child as he is. The appearance of my half-sister made me misunderstand Lip more and more. No one would be so good to a strange little girl for no reason, unless it is because of love for the other. While I was getting deeper and deeper into it, Lip acted like a jerk. After he couldn't stand my so-called constraints, Lip chose to deal with it coldly, which made me angry, and went back home. Those who are favored are fearless. Just a simple apology and a simple fireworks show. I forgot Lip's disregard for me, and my eyes were full of that man when I wake up at midnight. That fireworks always appear in my dreams. What you can't get is always in turmoil. Karen just went back to the South Side and said hello, and Lip returned to her obediently. The appearance of the mighty interviewer made me realize that Lip was smarter than I even thought. In order not to bury his talent, I applied for many universities for him without telling him. For this, I even agreed to deliver drugs for my family. My efforts finally paid off a little, and Lip changed some after knowing that I had made countless efforts to apply for college for him. Didn't even know Gandhi, he gave me a hearty thank you. Lip once asked me why I want him to go to MIT. I told him no one has ever been so good to me like him. If he went to Boston, maybe I could follow him to escape from the South Side. Of course, in order not to put psychological pressure on him, I lied a little and said that I never expected him to take me with him. Karen was like a maggot on the tarsal bone, constantly provoking. She even took the initiative to call me confidently, saying that as long as she pierced a hole in the condom, Lip would come back to her after she got pregnant. Karen was still too naive, forgetting that I was a Milkovich for Lip's future, and to vent my anger, I sent a text message to Karen using Lip's phone, hoping to use a car accident to make Karen disappear completely from Lip's life. The truth will always come out, and Lip eventually discovered the secret. Facing to my cold lover, I did not hesitate to force on him, and then I broke down under Lip's cold treatment. After being humiliated several times, I finally accepted the fact that Lip did not love me. At Mickey's wedding, I felt heartbroken again. It turned out that Ian's mysterious lover was my brother Mickey. At the wedding that my father prepared for Mickey, I casually pulled a black man named Kenyatta. As soon as I saw Lip, I announced that I had a new boyfriend. Kenyatta moved in with me soon. One night, Lip suddenly knocked on the door and told me that he had received an admission letter from MIT. I asked him if he would go, and the man shrugged at me, said nothing, disappeared into the night. Not long after, Lip went to college. Although I acted indifferent in front of others, I would still take out the photos of the two of us at night and recall the splendor of fireworks. So when Lip suddenly appeared in front of me one day, I still couldn't control myself. After the lovemaking, Lip asked me not to buy birth control pills, to have a baby and live with him in the South Side. I raised my fist at the thought that this man wanted to give up the university I had worked so hard to help him get into, and didn't want to die in the South Side. Shortly afterwards, Lip went back to college. Not long after, a big incident happened in the Gallagher family. Liam took drugs by mistake, and Fiona was imprisoned. Lip had to travel back and forth between the university and the South Side. Frequently at that time, Ian joined the army and escaped, but he did not go home. Through the conversation that helped Lip to bring a message to Ian, although I still lived with Kenyatta and Lip also had a girlfriend in college, I resumed contact with him again. Kenyatta gradually realized that something was wrong and went to Lip's university to vent, but was subdued by security. After returning home, he vented his anger on me, even though I was beaten black and blue by Kenyatta. I quickly forgave him. I am not a popular girl. Since I can't be with the one I love, I have to hold on to the man in front of me no matter how bad he is. Lip suddenly appeared in the restaurant where I worked like a ghost. He was well dressed and talked and laughed with a group of equally high-spirited college students. There was also a beautiful girl sitting next to him. After hiding my inner uneasiness, I still had to put on a smile and endure the dirty hands of middle-aged, greasy customers. This was not a scene for old lovers to reminisce about the past, so even if Lip caught up with me and took the initiative to say hello, I still pretended not to know him and pretended that he didn't see my ugly behavior. Summer came quickly. On the way to help Ian seduce the priest in the church, I ran into Lip, who had just got off work from the construction site during the summer vacation. At that time, he was dirty, wet, and in a mess. He no longer had the glory of a college student. We were still a good match. While chatting and laughing, I invited Lip again and asked him to come to see me when Kenyatta was not at home. Lip did not come, but Kenyatta found a job cleaning toilets in Indiana and wanted me to go with him. I did not refuse, since I could not get that man. As long as I could leave this sad place in the South Side, it was the same for me to go anywhere. The day before departure, Lip came in. The first time I saw him, my eyes lit up as if I saw a reason to stay. In the process of the exercise that should have enhanced my feelings, I mustered up the courage to make a final confession, but did not get any response from the man on my body. I realized that he did not love me, and I was like a lost soul. There was no smile anymore. I remember Lip told me I deserved better before he left, which was full of irony. The next day, as planned, I left Southside with Kenyatta. Kenyatta was moody and didn't make much money, so I left him soon. Forced to make a living, I became a call girl. Because of my high-end positioning, I made a lot of money, rented a nice apartment, bought a Jeep, had pension insurance, and even went to New York in first class with a regular customer. About a year later, I had to seek Ian's help because I accidentally killed a customer at work. Ian helped me out of the predicament easily. In order to wash the bloodstains on my skirt, I followed Ian to the Gallagher's house. I didn't want to go, but Ian told me that Lip was at school most of the time and would not go home at this time. Ian and I caught up, and I heard from him about Lip's recent situation. The Gallagher children are as troubled as the Milkovich, but we always find a way to survive, I told Ian. You know that just because we were born here doesn't mean that we end up here. After hugging Ian and saying goodbye, I walked downstairs, and the man I had been thinking about suddenly appeared in front of me. Looking at the man who was as slovenly as Frank, I, who was dressed in a bright suit, fled in panic. I didn't return home in glory, and the man didn't look like he was doing well. More importantly, I didn't know what to say to him. I could only wish him well in my heart. My life will continue, just like all the Gallaghers trapped in the South Side.